Is Vinnie Hacker good enough to beat Deji? Here's my Vinnie Hacker boxing breakdown. This fight takes place this Saturday, June 6th at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida. It's the Social Gloves YouTuber versus TikToker boxing event. It's crazy that it's, almost here. It's pretty surreal, to be quite honest, but the reason I want to do this fight is this one kind of excites me, and this is more about Hacker than it is about Deji. I kind of feel like a lot of us know what Deji's kind of bringing to the table. He's been there before with Jake Paul, but Hacker, we don't really know that much. I wasn't able to find tons of footage on him. I found it sounds funny, but a real solid 6-second clip, because I think we can tell a lot from this, and that's why I want to pick this clip in particular. Also, a lot of the other clips, I felt like I wasn't super confident that it actually was Hacker. People are saying Vinny in the video and things like that, but the tattoos didn't seem to match up, or I couldn't really see the tattoos well. So I wasn't sure if it was really him or not. This one you can clearly tell it's Vinny. But let's get right into the question. Is Vinnie Hacker good enough to beat Deji? The answer is no, and here's why. So Hacker's very new to boxing. I think we got to be kind of fair with our critique of this, but I want to start with the positives first before we kind of head in to the negatives. So let's start with the positives right here. You can tell just by listening to that he's got power, right? He's got some solid power. And I think why he's got power, he actually, let's go back here because again, it's only 6 seconds. He rotates his hips, right? He's putting more into it than just his hands. And we've seen a lot of these YouTuber, TikToker guys, they don't do that, right? They don't rotate the hips. Only a few of them did, especially in the beginning. But it seems like he's doing that. And this clip, I did see another clip a while back where it was like he was just starting, which I thought was kind of outdated to do in this. This one looks like it's a little older because he's looks a little more comfortable in there. And I don't want to go into any negatives yet. We're going to do the negatives for last. But you can tell he's a little more comfortable. But yeah, he's got that power, which I think is solid. He's rotating those hips. He's got some minor footwork there too. You can see his feet shift when he throws the hook and also the cross too. His back foot comes up a little bit. So those are all good signs. I think he's an athletic kid. And I know he's got like a baseball background too, so he's got some kind of athletic ability. That doesn't always, it doesn't mean, anything really in boxing, but it's definitely, I think in this circumstances where, all the guys are fairly new. I know Deji's obviously been doing it a while, but I still think this helps. It helps being athletic, so I think he's got that going for him. He's got some power, not bad. Really, other than that, you can see progression too, and I think that's really important too, that he's got progression. But what I think is going to be the problem here is that he's just like, he can progress all he wants. He's still, behind Deji as far as just experience, and Deji's always going to have that over him, and he just started ahead of him, and I think it's going to be hard for Hacker to catch up, especially this early on, right, in your career. But let's go into some negatives because there are a lot of negatives here. Like one thing I will talk about because I kind of said it as a positive, but the footwork. I think his footwork could be better, right? But again, he is very new. You can tell he's very stiff when he punches, and that's going to go into more of what we're about to talk about here. But yeah, his footwork's not great. It's not bad, but it's not great, But at this stage, I wouldn't expect it to be great, to be quite honest. Another thing that I think is really going to hurt him in this fight, and could ultimately maybe even end the fight early, right? Maybe he doesn't go the full distance. If you watch him here, every time he throws that cross, this hand drops. So he throws it and drops it. And I think I think the reason he's dropping it is because he's already getting ready to throw the counter. Because the whole time, so this is actually going to be 2 negatives. He's thinking a lot. He's thinking about the combinations. This is a very simple combination too. He's literally just throwing a cross and a hook, but you can tell he really has to think about it, and that's kind of insane. He just seems like he's just not grasping that, I guess. And it's not just flowing, which again, he's still new, so that's why it's not flowing. But you can just tell he's really thinking about it. And I think why this is gonna be a problem is, if you throw that cross and then you're dropping this hand, not only are you showing your opponent what you're gonna do next, but you're also leaving yourself vulnerable. So if Deji, notices that Hacker keeps, dropping that, and then he's getting ready to throw that hook, I mean, if he just slips out of the way and counters with the right cross of his own, Hacker's not he's going to be eating that. That's not going to be good, So I think he's going to be very vulnerable to counter attacks. He telegraphs his punches. You can see them coming from a mile away. And that's because he's just thinking a lot. And I don't see that really, no matter when this really was, just from some of the progression I've seen from Vinny, I don't think he's going to have that, fixed by the time he gets into the ring on Saturday night. Because, I mean, again, guys, we're less than a week away. So, and I'm not saying this was taken like yesterday or anything. It wasn't. But, you can just tell that it's like, I think he's just slowly progressing. So even if he's not showing a ton of footage on him, I don't think he's improved a ton since then. But maybe Vinny could come in there and shock us all, right? Another thing I want to talk about too is, and I won't even know if I would call this a negative or a positive, but a lot of people have been talking about Hacker and how during the press conference he said that he was fighting for the money. And a lot of people took that as he's not taking it serious.
What would make you accept this fight against Deji? Money?
I disagree with it a little bit. Obviously, he did say that he's fighting for the money, but in my opinion, I think he might have been saying that to kind of sound cool. Like, be like, oh, yeah, man, I'm just fighting for the money. Like, I don't care, And he also might be, just putting in people's mind that, like, if he does lose, then they could be like, well, he was just fighting for the money. Maybe he's already giving himself an out, which is not good either. But, I definitely think that, if you look at Hacker, he used to be a pretty decent high school baseball player from what I could see. He obviously, worked hard. I know it's TikTok and stuff like that, but he did work hard. It does take some effort to get to where he is on social media. So I think he's definitely got drive. I think he's definitely got good work ethic. So I think if he signs up for something, he's probably going to give it his all. Yeah, maybe he is just doing it for the money, but I still think he's going to try. I still think he's going to, bring his best version of himself to Deji. And I don't mean like, the best boxer, but like from what he could do to like in the time span he had, I think we're probably going to get a pretty good version of Hacker as far as just like, what he can bring to the table. Again, to answer the question, no, I do not think he's good enough to beat Deji, but I think that's definitely something to talk about. Another thing that was very interesting was, I think I saw it maybe on one of Fuzi videos where Hacker's kind of talking about how he's been putting on weight. And just from experience and just watching a lot of fighters and also just being in the gym when fighters were cutting weight, gaining weight during a training camp is unheard of. Like, unless you're like pumping up a weight class, maybe, like if you're like, I don't even know a scenario where that really ever happened. But, most of the time you're losing weight because you're training all the time. You're eating healthier. With Hacker, maybe he's just putting on a lot of muscle in the gym and stuff, which is great, good for him. But against a guy like Deji, you're going to need more than brawn. You're going to need some skills to kind of match his. So, and again, I'm not saying Deji's just like world-class boxer. He's not, but he is more experienced, right? And boxing is such a technical sport that you need some of that. You need that flow. You need that comfort. And Hacker has none of that, and I think Deji has some. And I think that's why I see Deji winning this one. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much it for my Vinnie Hacker boxing breakdown. I don't think he's going to win. I don't think he's good enough to beat Deji. I do think he's doing some things right where, it's good progression, but no, at the end of the day, I don't see him beating Deji. I don't think he's good enough. So guys, that's it for my Vinnie Hacker boxing breakdown. If you guys agree with me, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Put it in the comments below. If you think Vinnie Hacker is good enough, let me know why. Why do you think he's good enough to beat Deji? And also, if you agree with me and you don't think he's good enough, maybe there's other reasons why. Maybe there's other holes that I miss. If you guys can put that in the comments, that's great because that only helps me get better. We're learning from each other. I'm still learning, obviously. I'm not far from perfect. And just because I'm saying that, I don't think he's going to, beat Deji doesn't mean it can't happen, right? Everybody's got a puncher's chance. Everybody's got a different analysis. So I totally respect that. And yeah, guys, have at it. But that's going to be it, guys. Let me know in the comments below if there's anything else you want to see from me. I know the fight is coming up kind of quick. I definitely don't think this, obviously the influencer boxing scene is not going anywhere. With the amount of money these guys are making. So I think we're going to be doing these for a while, even though this fight is on June 12th. Obviously, you got the Paul brothers doing their things. But, yeah, guys, let me know in the comments below if there's anything specifically you want to see. I definitely want to do some predictions before the fight on Saturday. But thanks so much for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.